I'm Detective Big.
And I'm Detective Small. We're the best two detectives in Green Island.
And we've just received a message from the GBC headquarters. Detective Big and Detective Small, look for clues to solve the latest case, the unbearable sacrifice.
I think this is a case for my trusty magnifying glass. Let's go, Detective Small.
Okay.
I think I found something, Detective Small.
What's this? A rope?
Let's see what else we can find.
Okay.
Detective Big, we find something.
A knife?
Very suspicious.
Get that away. I found something.
An angel.
Look.
I wonder what this could be.
I found something.
It's a sheep.
I wonder what this story could be.
Thanks, Detective Big and Detective Small. I'm not sure I'd want you investigating any case I was a part of, but thanks for the clues anyway. So today's story is all about a man in the Bible that we all know called Abraham. How do I know we all know it? Because we've all sang the song, Father Abraham had many sons. Many sons had Father Abraham. All the limbs? No, you'll know the song. But the song gives us a clue as to why Abraham was so well known in the Bible, because God had promised Abraham that he was going to be the leader of many nations. He was going to have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all the way down to us. We're all descendants of Abraham. And it said there's going to be so many descendants that you couldn't even count them in the sky, like the stars. He had so many. But what was the story about? So Abraham was going to have all these grandchildren, great-grandchildren, but it tells us in the Bible that Abraham didn't have his first child until he was 100 years old. Abraham's wife was called Sarah, and she was 90 whenever they had their first son called Isaac. Now, can you imagine having a mummy and daddy that age? Imagine if you're 10 now, your daddy is 110 and your mummy is 100. Crazy, but that's what happened in the Bible. And the Bible tells us that Abraham and Sarah were so happy whenever they had their son Isaac, and they were so thankful to God. But it says that God tested Abraham. And this is what I want you to remember from today's story, that Abraham trusted God. Even though he wasn't sure why God was telling him to do certain things, Abraham trusted God because he knew God would make the right decision for him. So it says God told Abraham to take his son Isaac up to Mount Moriah and sacrifice him. Now, what's a sacrifice? In the days of Abraham, the people showed their devotion to God by sacrificing animals quite often. They would take an animal and kill it, usually on a fire, and that was their way of showing God their love for him and giving him the things that meant a lot to them. Because in those days, an animal was the main thing you had. That was what you were worth, was how many animals you had. So it says Abraham trusted what God told him and set off with Isaac up the mountain. Now, as they're going up the mountain, Isaac was probably a wee bit like, so we're going up to give a sacrifice to God. Where's the sacrifice? Where's the animal? But Abraham continued on up the mountain with Isaac, and Abraham was trusting in God. There probably was some doubts in his mind that he was going to be killing his only son, because if God had told him that he was going to have all these descendants and all these children and grandchildren, how is it going to help if he kills his only son? Where's all the people going to come from? You and I maybe think like that, but Abraham trusted in God, that he knew God was going to make the right decision and show him the right thing to do. So as they got up the mountain, this is where our first clue comes in from Detective Big and Detective Small. He probably took Isaac and bound him with some rope or some twine or some string. Tied Isaac up. Next thing you probably would have got would have been a knife. It says he went to get the knife for Isaac, and next thing there was a shout. Where did the shout come from? An angel. The angel said, "Stop! Don't touch Isaac." God had tested Abraham right until the end when he was about to sacrifice his only son, and the angel from God told him not to do it. God knew that Isaac was a man, or knew that Abraham trusted him completely, and Abraham knew that God was in control. God had stopped it right at the last minute whenever he was seeing that he was truly trusting in him. And it says that they found a ram or a sheep in the bushes, and then they sacrificed the lamb to God instead. And this is like the story further on in the Bible where we've learnt about the Lord Jesus coming to die on the cross. He was the only son of God, just like Isaac was the only son of Abraham, and he died because God trusted in him. Boys and girls, I just want you to remember that even though things maybe don't make sense, Abraham wasn't sure why God was wanting him to kill his only son. Abraham trusted in God. So when God tells you to do something, just remember that you should trust in him because his ways are best. So hopefully you'll remember the story this week, and I can't wait to see what happens next week when we continue on in these investigations. Bye-bye.